This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Don't be so scared of the monster underneath your bed. The monster's in your head. Don't be so scared of the monster underneath your bed. The monster's in your head. It's been keeping you up at night, deciphering what's truth and lies. You can't run from me. You can't hide from me. You can't run from me. 'Cause the monster is
The following program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, yes. I think we've established this over the years that it does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, today is Tuesday, June the 30th of 2026, and we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
Radio Big.
Yep, hanging out with our friends with Radio Big, doing all the fun stuff that we get to do. So hopefully you're doing fantastic. Hopefully you're having a grandioso time as we are doing things and hanging around. Now, I have to tell you, let's just start off right away by talking about some of the stuff that's going on inside of the multiverse. So yesterday, it wasn't like it was an amazing discovery, but we discovered, that we're 2 weeks away from the event that we're putting on here in Orlando that we're calling Reality Shifts. I got to walk through the movie theater yesterday and kind of take a look at how some of the things would be laid out. And it was kind of amazing to take a look at it, kind of like the vision finally being there on the screen with everything that we had going on. So it was interesting to see, no doubt there. So got to hang out and do that yesterday morning. So definitely excited around here with regards to getting that prepped. So if you want to interact with that, safetyfm.io is more information, and the event is occurring on July 13th. We're calling it Reality Shifts. It's happening at the Aloma Cinema Grill here in Orlando. So would love to see you there if you want to come in, hang out, and do all the fun stuff. No doubt there. Anyways, before we get too sidetracked, let's kind of get into what we do here, because that's always important to talk about. So if you're new to our show here, here's what we end up doing. We talk about safety in the news and safety. It's kind of what it does. It's kind of what we do. We go through everything. And then from that particular point on, we take a look around and bring in some professional broadcasters, let them talk about what the hell's going on inside of the multiverse, and then we run with it. That's it. Then I give you a level of the main story of the show. So if you're new, that's what we do. If you've been here before, thanks for coming back. And that kind of just gives the whole kit and caboodle of everything that's going on. So this is hour one that we refer to as the Rated R Safety Show. That happens here on Safety FM and on Radio Big. .fm all at the same time. They're coming across the multiverse. And then hour 2 and 3 is exclusive to Radio Big .fm. The first hour is the only hour that we do any kind of level of video on. which would be here. And we're also on video now on most podcast catchers. So there you go. You have some options if you're interested in doing that stuff.
Duh.
So there you go. Okay, so with that being said, why don't we go ahead and do this now? Let's go ahead and bring in our friends from Feature Story News. Let them tell us about what the hell's going on inside of the world of the multiverse, and then we'll go from there.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in New Delhi, I'm Neha Punia. Top United Nations representatives in Venezuela say officials are procuring 10,000 body bags in anticipation of the death toll climbing following devastating earthquakes in the South American country. It comes as officials race to set up emergency shelters for the thousands of displaced people ahead of a weather system likely to bring heavy rain to the country. Mitch McCann is reporting from the United Nations.
The UN's resident and humanitarian coordinator in Venezuela said on Monday that there had been 500 aftershocks since Wednesday's initial devastating earthquakes, describing the situation as a high-risk environment for rescue teams. Gianluca Rampolla said the latest death toll announced by the government was at least 1,450, but added that number will continue to rise. He said the officials are procuring 10,000 body bags, but are hoping the total number of deaths will be lower. There's been a significant response from the international community following the major quakes, including more than 2,200 search and rescue specialists from 27 countries, assisted by 140 rescue dogs.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff briefed members of Congress on the phone on the state of the U.S.-Iran negotiations, drawing sharp criticism from Democratic senators. The briefing came as Witkoff and U.S. President Donald Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner are headed to Doha for what the White House has called high-level talks. But Iran's foreign ministry says its own technical team will be in Doha, but for separate discussions. Nick Harper has more.
Part of the problem is the different narrative. The US saying that the talks are on, Iran saying that they have no plans to meet with the United States during the course of this week. So what do we know? Well, we know from the US side who's traveling. That's the president's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, along with Steve Witkoff, who's been integral in a number of different peace negotiations over the last year and a half. They are traveling to Doha. Donald Trump has said that. However, the Iranians are saying that they will be taking part in separate talks this week, technical talks, they said, that bear no relation to the Americans' visit.
On Tuesday, the U.S. Supreme Court will rule whether President Trump's restrictions on birthright citizenship can stand, deciding whether or not his signature immigration policy is unconstitutional. Jagrathi Dave has the latest.
Now, the big day is Tuesday, when SCOTUS will deliver on contentious topics, including the status of transgender athletes in schools and, the big one, birthright citizenship, the right that most people born in the US can become US citizens. President Trump has signed an executive order to end this right for a number of groups, including the children of undocumented immigrants. The Supreme Court's decision could affect hundreds of thousands of babies born in the US, so it's a decision that will be closely watched when it's delivered.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, with more today on the crisis in Venezuela following last week's twin earthquakes, as Venezuelan President Delcy Rodriguez creates a commission to assess damage to housing and infrastructure. She is also coming under relentless criticism by members of the public. Residents in the worst-hit areas say they have been left largely to fend for themselves. And at one point, President Rodriguez was barracked as she visited La Guaira on the outskirts of Caracas, which served as the quake's epicenter. Reporter Catherine Ellis is in the Venezuelan capital.
A lot of people are actually just using their bare hands or spades to try and get to people that they know that are still trapped underneath, basically. If anything, I think the situation could get worse. People are getting more angry. Some people today were saying, we're hungry, we haven't got food, we're looking for people, using our hands looking for people. We haven't got food, we haven't got equipment, we haven't got helmets, we haven't got anything. Where is the government? Now, the government can't solve everything. This is a massive natural disaster, but people are at least expecting some answers and some support. So tensions could actually rise a lot more rather than trust rising.
And she says Venezuelans say they are bypassing official channels entirely, preferring to deliver donations directly to affected families rather than hand them over to the authorities. President Trump has deployed Marines to assist in the search, rescue and recovery operations. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
The main news again. Venezuelan officials say they are procuring 10,000 body bags in anticipation of the death toll climbing. The US claims Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner are headed to Doha for high-level talks, though Tehran says no meeting with the Americans is planned. The US Supreme Court will rule whether President Trump's restrictions on birthright citizenship can stand, and that is the latest feature story news. Neha Punya reporting.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion. The book that started the conversation, Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all three books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp-speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobilemobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello. Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Another pitfall of our society. Rated R Safety Show.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Okay, so there you go. A lot of things going on inside of the world of the multiverse. So there you go. A lot of stuff happening here. So let's get moving and grooving because there's a lot of information to cover and little time to do so. At least it feels that way from time to time as we are talking. So if you're good, let's start getting into some of the main news stories that we were able to find. So here we go. President Trump says that he still hasn't decided whether he'll sign the bipartisan 21st Century Road to Housing Act, calling the legislation a yawn. Yes, W-A-Y, excuse me, I can't even spell, Y-A-W-N, compared to this priority passive, the Save America Act. The housing bill, which passed to Congress with overwhelming bipartisan support, includes measures to encourage the construction of more homes, renovate older housing, and reduce building regulations, and limit private equity firms from buying up single-family homes. Trump said that one of his concerns is that the bill received strong Democratic support, saying that it contains provisions that he doesn't necessarily agree with. He also acknowledged that the Save America Act, which would require proof of citizenship to register to vote, likely doesn't have enough Republican votes in the Senate to pass. Despite Trump's comments, House Speaker Mike Johnson has said that he expects the president to sign the housing bill. If Trump neither signs nor vetoes it within 10 days while Congress remains in session, it would automatically become law. If he vetoes it, Congress would still override the veto with 2/3 votes on both chambers. So what do you think here? I'm just asking, because it definitely gets interesting. So think about what's being said. If he does not sign it, and if he does not veto it because it has more than 2/3 of the votes, or Congress could still override it override the veto with 2/3 of the votes in both chambers. So automatic law if 2/3 of the chamber. So I wonder what the redirect would be there in regards and how that would work. That's going to be the thing. So let's talk about this because this seems to be a big news story to be making the rounds, the circles, however the hell you want to call it. Serena Williams is returning to singles at Wimbledon Championship for the first time in nearly 4 years, but she already is criticizing tennis anti-doping rules. Serena said that the current system is unreasonable because players must constantly update their whereabouts for surprise drug testing. Williams said that missing a tester, even because life gets in the way with kids, business, or travel, is frustrating and was one of the reasons she hesitated to come back. The International Tennis Integrity Agency responded by both saying that the rules haven't changed in recent years and clarified that players are only penalized if they miss testers during the designated 1-hour testing window. Williams opened the Wimbledon comeback on Tuesday against Maya Joint. So there you go. So, I mean, I think it's a weird thing. Let's just be realistic. But I have heard of some drug agencies, USADA in particular, when they used to do stuff with the UFC, on how they can have these really weird requirements of time of day on when they're trying to capture, well, I guess get a hold of you. I shouldn't say capture you because that sounds terrible, but you get what I'm saying in regards to that. Maybe capture is not the word. So that's just something to think about. So with that being said, what do you think? Is it worth it? Is it not worth it? I don't know. It's always kind of an interesting stuff in regards of talking about it. So take a listen to this. A federal judge has postponed Luigi Mangioni's federal murder trial until, you ready for this? I hope you're sitting, January, saying that it would be impossible for him and his legal team to prepare for both his federal and state case at the same time. Mangioni, who is accused in the December 2024 killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson outside of a Manhattan hotel, is still scheduled to face his state murder trial in September. Jury selection for the federal case will now begin on January the 5th, with the opening statements expected on January the 25th. Prosecutors have already dropped 2 of the original 4 federal charges, including a firearm murder count that could have made Mangione eligible for the death penalty. He has pleaded not guilty to all charges in both cases. Yesterday, the court hearing got off to an unusual start when the courthouse elevator carrying Mangione got stuck. After more than 30 minutes, emergency crews freed him, and he finally made it into the courtroom, still in hands and foot restraints. So there you go. Think about that for a moment. You get stuck in an elevator for 30 minutes as you're going to your court case. Oh, that's a day. That's a day that you're not going to forget anytime soon. Just think about that weird stuff for a moment.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
I'm just saying. Just think about that real quick. So here you go. Another story coming out of Florida. So
WTF. Welcome to Florida.
A weekend of alligator attacks in Florida left one woman dead and a child injured in 2 separate incidents. A 31-year-old woman was swimming with friends in the Ekalalachi River. Yes, that they call it Eco River. On Sunday, when she was attacked by an alligator, she suffered severe bites to both arms and later died at the hospital. Wildlife officials captured 2 alligators from the area to determine whether either was responsible for the attack. In a separate incident on Saturday, a child was bitten by an alligator while fishing along the Okalawa River. The child survived, and the officials euthanized an 8-foot 7-inch alligator believed to be connected to the attack. The incident comes just days after a separate fatal crocodile attack in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, where a 28-year-old man was killed while snorkeling. Holy crap, while snorkeling? So there you go. Some interesting stuff as we are talking. You know, I have to tell you, it always gets weird around here when we start talking about some of this stuff, because number one, it's like, okay, if you ever hear anything about Florida, people act like Florida has alligators just kind of roaming all over the place. That's number one. Kind of like when you see movies that make any kind of reference to Texas and tumbleweed. They kind of make it seem like if you're walking around, tumbleweed's just blowing all over the place. I've lived in Texas and I've lived in Florida for some time at this point, and never seen really alligators just walking around the street besides Alligator Alley, which that's a whole other story. And tumbleweeds were never exactly what people made it out to be in Texas. So I don't know. What do you think about this whole story? Like, I don't know. I look at it this way. If you're going to go swimming anywhere, just stick to swimming inside of the pool. It's so much easier.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
I'm just saying. I mean, I don't know. I just don't get it, but that's just me. I don't know. I mean, I'm not picking here. I'm just saying. Okay, so let's continue talking. A massive heat dome is expected to bring dangerous record-breaking temperatures to much of the central and eastern United States this week, with forecasters warning that as many as 230 million Americans, about 2/3 of the countries, could be exposed to extreme heat through the 4th of July. Temperatures in many areas will climb into the 90s and low 100s, but high humidity will make it feel more like 100 to 115 degrees. Overnight temperatures are expected to stay within the 70s, offering a little relief and increasing risk of heat-related illnesses, especially for people without air conditioning. A heat dome is a large area of high pressure that traps hot air near the ground, allowing temperatures to build the day after day. Meteorologists say that the system could break all-time heat records in some locations before it begins to weaken later in the holiday weekend. Until then, millions are under extreme heat warning and heat advisories as officials urge people to stay hydrated, limit the outdoors, and check on vulnerable family members and neighbors. For some reason, I think I have seen this similarly, but there was one that said pets. No, seriously, checking on your pets would be a crucial portion here in regards of things to talk about. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on right there as we are talking. So what do you think about this whole thing? It gets interesting for sure as we are talking. So let's continue talking about some other stuff that is going on right now. So I hope you're sitting if you are a beer drinker. No, seriously. I hope you're sitting if you are a beer drinker, because this one might be a little bit weird for you. Budweiser is celebrating America's 250th birthday by buying the first round, at least while supplies last. Starting yesterday, adults 21 and older can visit Budweiser's promotional website, verify their age, and receive a $6 digital gift card to help cover the cost of a beer. The promotion runs until Budweiser's $150,000 tab has been claimed. The giveaway is part of a wave of patriotic 4th of July promotions. The promotion runs until Budweiser's 150,000 tab has been claimed. So there you go. You're always constantly thinking about you want free beer or free alcohol. I think that's it. There's your free alcohol. So there you go. Some age verification. Wonder how the hell they're doing that, but we can leave that for another story or another time. So let's talk about the Coca-Cola Freestyle machines are inspiring a new wave of DIY soda creations as fans invent their own secret menu drinks and recreate discounted flavors. One of the biggest trends on social media is bringing back Cherry Baby 101, a limited edition freestyle flavor that no longer available. Fans say the closest homemade version is an equal mix of cherry Sprite, vanilla Sprite, and grape Fanta. Holy crap. And videos of the recipe have gone viral. The trend has sparked countless custom drink combinations, with fans or soda fans sharing favorites like cherry vanilla Pib, peach Sprite, orange Coke, creamsicle-inspired high C mixes. Even Coca-Cola and AMC theaters have joined the online conversation in the latest strings of viral drink trends following the creation of Fluffy Coke, pineapple soaked in Kool-Aid, and Dua Lipa's controversial Diet Coke recipe featuring pickle juice and jalapenos. Hold on. I will tell you, I have definitely watched this Dua Lipa video that they're talking about here about this drink. I don't really know if I would say it's a Dua Lipa inspired drink, because she was in Texas and said that this was a drink that the locals drank in the area of where she was at the time. So I don't know if this is really a Dua Lipa drink. So there you go. Okay, so let's talk about this, because, it's always kind of an interesting world when we start talking about some weird stuff here. But a recent survey found that men are significantly more likely than women to ignore the instruction manual when putting together furniture, setting up electronics, or using a new gadget. Instead of reading the directions first, many admit that they'd rather figure it out as they go, even if it means taking things apart and starting over. The survey suggests that confidence often wins over caution, but that approach can lead to missing parts, backward shelves, and extra screws, and plenty of frustration. Here are the reasons that why men should have to read the instruction, because real men consider the instruction manual a collection of spoilers. Yeah, that's a good reason. And I guess reading instructions would only slow down the learning by mistakes process, and the box had pictures, and their blueprints is all we need when it's all said and done. And manuals are just for manufacturers' opinions. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's absolutely right. So what do you think here? Do they have something right there, or do they have something wrong?
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's start talking about some other things that are going on inside of the world. So I hope you're not ordering food this early in the morning. That's first thing, depending on how early you're taking to listen to it. If you're live, well, it's in the 7 o'clock Eastern hour, so probably not a good time to do this. But a New Jersey man is suing Jersey Mike's, Grubhub, and a delivery driver after he says that he found a set of dentures inside of his cheesesteak sandwich. Fernando Rodriguez says that he ordered a sandwich through Grubhub in April of 2025. April? Okay. After unwrapping, he discovered the dentures embedded into the cheesesteak. As according to the lawsuit, he took the sandwich back to the restaurant where police were called to investigate. Delivery driver alleged that it first claimed that the dentures belonged to her father, but later admitted that they were hers. She reportedly told police that she accidentally dropped them into the customer's sandwich while checking his order and eating her own lunch. Rodriguez says that the incident caused severe emotional distress, nausea, and loss of appetite. His lawsuit accuses that the driver tampering with the food, Grubhub of negligent hiring and training, and Jersey Mike's for failing to properly secure the order. Grubhub says that the driver is no longer delivering for the company. Hold on real quick, because there's a couple of different things that I want to address here. Number one, isn't most of this food already has stickers on the bag? That way you don't open it if you're the driver. And holy shit, you're telling me that this person went as far as opening the sandwich to verify it and the dentures fell out? So talk about a sandwich with a bite. He ordered the extra cheese, not extra teeth. Some people got confused there. The only thing worse than cold fries, somebody else's dentures. He asked for a Philly cheesesteak, not a full dental exam. Even the sandwich was smiling. Imagine calling customer service, "I'd like to report a smile in my sandwich." So what do you think here? I mean, it definitely gets interesting as we are talking, no doubt about that. So let's talk about a couple of other things real quick. An embarrassing typo turned into a City of Ottawa promotion into an internet punchline. Posters advertising a new initiative to create public squares in the city Centretown. District accidentally used a French word, public. Let's see, how do they, instead of using the word public squares, use a French word for public squares. The mistake happened because French text left out the letter, changing the meaning completely. Photos of the sign spread across social media. Organizers removed them. Officials called the unintentional translation error and said the corrected signs are on the way. A city council criticized the mistake, and it sends the wrong message to French-speaking speaker or visitors that took the look at the city as careless. Talk about a hairy situation. Somewhere spell checks is asking for a transfer. It was supposed to bring the community together, not that intimately. So apparently city squares. Okay, posters advertising new initiative to create public squares. In the center town district used the French word for public squares instead. I don't get it. But I guess that's the way that it works most of the times. I don't get half the shit we're talking about. That's exactly what happens. Anyways, 32 minutes past the top of the hour, and let's get into our main story.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
So, what a time things are taking place. What a time with things that are going on, and what a time to take a look around and really notice what is happening. Number one, let's start off with this kind of weird week that we're in. It is a holiday week, meaning that Saturday is a holiday, so some people will be taking some time off earlier in the week or later in the week in regards of what's going on for them to celebrate the 4th of July, the 250th birthday of the United States, which I understand and I get. But what an interesting time it is. And I'm not going to start talking about, oh my God, what exactly is everybody doing now that most people are on vacation this week? That's not what we're going to talk about. What we're going to talk about is the following. What we're going to talk about is the change in plans. The change in plans that did not normally have any kind of level of expectancy. The change in plans that occur inside of the organization that no one knew about. So let's talk about this real quick, because I have been on both sides of the coin. No, seriously, I've been on both sides of the coin. So here's what happens. You are aware that organizations want to sometimes change the structure of what exactly is going on. And there's kind of some different ways of doing it. Somebody went to some level of a conference, they got inspired, they have that emotional inspiration on how they're going to change the world, that normally lasts a few weeks, on how they're going to change everything, and they're coming back because they know on how everything is going to change moving forward. You've heard this before. Now, here's the interesting part. As this occurs, and a lot of people are thinking about it, and a lot of people are doing this stuff, and they go on how they're going to change everything. If people do not start making the change, they start running out of steam and so on. Normally defaults back to the exact same thing that was occurring before. I'm not picking here. I'm just telling you the reality of what occurs. So let's continue talking. Let's continue talking about some other stuff. So as you are aware, because this will happen, people sometimes go through the other side of the coin, where all of a sudden the consultant that they bring in that's going to change the organization. And the consultant or the consulting firm is probably the better way to use this here, has a plan on what they're going to start implementing. They have a plan on what they're going to change. They have a plan on how everything is going to change within the organization. So the consulting firm starts laying out the plan of what they're going to do. Now, here's the fun part, is that sometimes when these changes are taking place, nothing was discussed within the organization. All of a sudden, somebody heard this, heard that, and said, this is a great idea of what we're going to do going forward. So with that being said, how does the organization handle this? How does the organization look back and say, oh yes, this makes sense? Most of the times they do not. And let's think about this for just a brief moment. I want you to think, if you've been on either side of these scenarios, on how you see the
clicks
start occurring inside of the organization, where all of a sudden you have group one that is talking with the people that are trying to do the change. And then you have group two that starts talking about that they don't understand on why these changes are going into place, specifically because nothing has been discussed with the organization, like the people within the organization. Now, I will tell you, it's amazing to me on how this works, because if you want to do a change where there's buy-in within the people from the company, you cannot bring in the quote-unquote consulting firm and start the conversation from there. I think that this is one of these conversations that you have to start talking about ahead of time and then making the decision that you're going to move everything. If you don't do it in that fashion, it becomes extremely interesting on how that will move or not move in that case. So let's continue with this portion. So you have group one and you have group two. Group two will probably give you the most pushback because nothing was discussed with them. And now I'm going to tell you this. If you have a group and you're in a job organization, or you have these groups and you're in an organization that has a union, expect this times two about the pushback. And I'm not saying anything wrong about unions, because they're great in regards to when you have great communication with them. But there's going to be a level of pushback that's going to come from the union when you start thinking about it, because they're going to not agree with the change because it wasn't discussed previously. So as you're doing these changes, how does it work? What do you think the proper formatting should be? And I want you to really give that some consideration as we're talking this morning, because if you're going to do a change within the organization, don't you think that the conversation should start with the people in the organization? Now, think about what I just said there. If you want change into the organization, shouldn't it start with the people within the organization? Now, I will tell you, I remember many, many, many years ago, I worked at this organization, and any time that they had something stupid that they wanted to change, because that's how I felt that it was at the time, I would tell them exactly how I felt about the changes. And so then it started getting to the point that when they were going to do a change about anything, the discussion would be had with me. The discussion would be brought up of, Jay, we're about to implement these changes, and we don't want to hear your doom and gloom about the changes that we're implementing. Now, I will tell you, I'm not sure if the first time I heard that I was insulted or if I thought it was comical. I know later on I kept on laughing about it every time that something new was going to come about. Like, I remember some of the dumbest ideas I think I ever heard came into that story, but that's a conversation for a different day. That's working for a mom and pop that can change anything during lunch. So with that being said, how should you handle organizational changes? Should they be an emotional event because your leader went to a little convention? Or should they be something where a high-level consulting firm comes in and tries to change everything? Or should you look at it that maybe the discussions are the discussions that are had within the people inside of the organization before the changes even occur in the first place?
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You're listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
You've seen the loop. You've felt the shift. The script doesn't fit anymore, and neither do you. Safety transmission. The collapse of the construct is the third and final signal in the trilogy from J. Allen, Ph.D. And this time, it's not about waking up. It's about what you do once you're awake. The system didn't break. It just stopped pretending to hold you. And now it's blinking, rebranding presence, packaging resistance, and calling it progress. This book isn't a guide. It's a transmission. It doesn't teach the system how to evolve. It shows you how to stop performing for it. You'll see what happens when awareness becomes responsibility, when audits don't listen, and when leadership becomes a loop. But if you've made it this far, you're not here to be managed. You're here to carry signal. Safety transmission. The collapse of the construct. Now available in print, Kindle, and audiobook. Narrated by J. Allen, Ph.D. Because if it couldn't hold your signal, it was never real to begin with.
J. Allen in the morning on Radio Big.
So do you feel like you're missing out on what everyone is starting to do now, that live streaming thing, and you don't know where to start or what to do? I have the resource and the information to provide to you in regards on how you can stream onto 40 social media platforms all at one time. Yes, that's 40 social media platforms all at one time. All you'll need to do is go to safetyfm.com safetyfm.com/1. That's safetyfm.com/1. That's ONE. So just in case, and you'll be able to start live streaming just like you're hearing people starting to do right now, up to 40 social media platforms.
Freeform radio never sounded this great. Or has it? Radio Big.
The monster is living inside. Don't be so scared of the monster underneath your bed. The monster's in your head. Don't be so scared of the monster underneath your bed. The monster's in your head. It's been keeping you up at night, deciphering what's truth and lies. You can't break.
Okay, here we go. 45 minutes past the top of the hour. And we are still hanging out here on the Rated R Safety Show, doing all the fun stuff we get to do, no doubt there. So this right here is Heather Evans. Name of the song is called Monster. Song's readily available on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, and Pandora. So there you go. Go ahead and give that one a little streamer-eamer action. We'd like to thank Heather Evans for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. Always a good time when we get to bring new music your direction, no doubt about that. So there you go, no doubt or outer. So there you go. Okay, so let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that's kind of what we do around here. And let me tell you about the most important thing that I will tell you in my lifetime. So here we go. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. And we want you to know that people have been where you are now, and things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you need to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com, and click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, there'll be information related to addiction, depression, eating disorders, self-injury, suicide, trauma, grief support, just to name a few. That's TWLOHA.com to write love on her arms. Listen, once you get there, all kinds of information, go to the far right-hand side, click on the section that says Find Help, and look around. See if that's something that might pertain to you. If that's not something that will pertain to you, maybe there's somebody else that you know that it could pertain to. Also, the other side is there's some sections there about self-care. There's a toolkit that you can take a look at. There's some videos, some different ways to interact with the website if you're so inclined to do so. All you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com to write love on her arms. Now, listen, let's continue talking about some other things that are going on. And I always like to talk about all the stories that I can find, because why would I not want to do that? I know that sometimes we try to leave some of these things till Friday, because we do our Freeform Friday aspect where we talk about a little bit about everything. So let's kind of do a couple of things here, because I thought that this was interesting. Now, let me make sure that I have the weird one that I wanted to share with you first, opposed to doing something else. And now, of course, the thing vanished. Let me tell you about this first before we get too far into the weeds here. Let me tell you about our virtual, or not our virtual event, listen to me, our not virtual event that's taking place, Reality Shifts and Observational Symposium, taking place at the Aloma Cinema Grill on July the 13th. We're just days away from this now. To find out more information about it, go to safetyfm.io. During the day's event, Nick Weatherly will be there talking about behavior-based safety. Todd Conklin will be there talking about human and organizational performance, and I will be there talking about Signal. Would love to see what exactly is going on that particular day in regards of what you have going on. So no doubt about that as we are talking. So all you need to do to find out more information is you can either scan the QR code that's on the screen, or you can go to safetyfm.io. safetyfm.io for more information. So there you go. So let's continue talking. Okay, now here it is. Let me give you the news story that I wanted to tell you. Doctors in Spain feared that a 60-year-old man had a metastatic brain cancer after scans revealed what appeared to be multiple brain tumors. But after more testing, they discovered that the tumors were actually fluid-filled cysts containing live tapeworms. The man had gone to the hospital with headaches and mild behavioral changes. Initial scans pointed to the advanced cancer, but doctors couldn't find tumors anywhere else in his body. A more detailed MRI revealed that the parasites. The blood test confirms that he had some issues, a rare infection caused by pork tapeworms. Doctors believe that he have accidentally ingested microscopic tapeworm eggs years earlier, and he was treated with antiparasitic medication and recovered without complications. Researchers say that the case is a reminder that even countries where the disease is rare, parasites can still mimic brain cancer. So think about that the next time. I mean, what a crazy time when you really start thinking about that. Anyways, let me give you something a little bit more positive. Let's bring some John Smalls into our life and let him tell us about the Motivation Minute.
Courtesy of JaceCaseMedical.com. Today's quote was submitted by Marcia. Jack Dempsey said, "You know what a champion is? A champion is someone who's ready when the gong rings. Not just before, not just after, but when it rings." I love this. I've been in the right place at the right time many times in my life. It's been one divine appointment after another. There was a time when I showed up about 3 minutes before something happened that I never would have believed if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes. I had just started dating my now wife, Heidi. I stopped to visit her early one morning. She had just taken a shower and was wearing a robe. We were talking for a few minutes and her ex-husband showed up. He said, "My pipes are frozen. I need to take a shower." Then he just walked back and took a shower. Imagine if I'd showed up a few minutes later. How could I ever have believed that story? The Motivation Minute. This has been the Motivation Minute. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
Diplomatic tensions eased slightly after the United States and Iran agreed to halt recent military strikes and restart negotiations aimed at stabilizing the Gulf region.
Officials from both governments arranged technical meetings in Qatar to begin renewed discussions. Analysts say successful talks could reduce pressure on global shipping routes and energy markets. Gary Beck reporting.
Emergency officials across western states expanded wildfire monitoring as dangerous summer conditions raised fears of additional fast-moving blazes threatening communities and infrastructure.
Dry vegetation and intense heat created volatile conditions across multiple fire-prone regions. Authorities urged residents near vulnerable areas to prepare evacuation plans as conditions remain unstable. Liam White reporting.
German investigators launched a major criminal probe after 5 people were killed during a shooting at a youth care facility in northern Germany.
Police arrested 2 suspects shortly after gunfire erupted inside the residential support center. Authorities are now examining possible motives while families await updates on several critically injured survivors. Lawrence Keller reporting.
Lawmakers in Washington faced renewed intelligence concerns after surveillance powers under a key national security program remained stalled following Senate opposition.
Several Republicans joined Democrats in blocking procedural efforts to extend federal monitoring authority. National security officials warned intelligence operations may face immediate disruption without legislative action. Kevin Sanders reporting.
Rescue crews in Venezuela pushed through shattered neighborhoods as survivors were still being found after a devastating earthquake left entire communities buried in rubble.
Emergency teams continued digging through collapsed buildings while hospitals struggled with overwhelming injuries. Officials warned the death toll could rise sharply as damaged roads slowed aid reaching isolated towns. Chris Anderson reporting.
Major changes hit the American media industry Monday after Comcast announced plans to separate NBC Universal operations from its profitable broadband and communications business.
Executives said the restructuring will create an independent entertainment company, managing television and streaming properties. Financial analysts expect the move to reshape competition throughout the broader media landscape. Kyle Norris reporting.
European authorities faced mounting pressure after an intense heat wave spread across the continent, straining power systems and forcing emergency services into constant response.
Temperatures climbed past dangerous levels across several countries as officials opened cooling shelters. Experts warned prolonged extreme heat could worsen wildfires and threaten already fragile electric grids. Benjamin Wright reporting.
Federal investigators moved quickly after a fast-moving wildfire near the Colorado and Utah border killed 3 firefighters battling dangerous wind-driven flames.
Crews were overwhelmed as sudden fire shifts trapped emergency personnel working rugged terrain. Officials have begun reviewing field conditions while nearby communities remain under evacuation orders. Jessica Oakley reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
In order to save the planet from cow farts, why doesn't someone just invent really large gas X pills?
God, what's that awful stench?
Radio.
Okay, so there you go. 55 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. Back in 1906, Pure Food and Drug Act and Meat Inspection Act is adopted. In 1936, 40-hour work week law is approved federally. And let's see, 1942, the U.S. Mint in New Orleans ceases operation. And 1948, transistor as a substitute for radio tubes is announced by Bell's Labs. In 1965, the NFL grants the Atlanta Falcons a franchise. In 1975, Cher, just 4 days after divorcing Sonny Bono, marries Greg Allman. In 1977, Marvel Comics publishes The Kiss Book, tributing the rock group Kiss. In 1989, NASA closes down a tracking station in Santiago, Chile, and Guam. And let's see, in 1994, the U.S. Figure Skating Association stripped Tanya Harding of her 1994 national championship title. Yeah, if you don't know that story, you should probably look that one up. You might find it amazing. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about some celebrity birthdays going on today. David Alan Greer turned 70 today. Vincent Ofonio turned 67. Rupert Graves, 63. Mike Tyson, 60. Monica Potter, 55. Fantasia turns 42. And Michael Phelps turns 41 today. There's some birthdays for you. Let's talk about some things that you ought to know. Tonight's Mega Million jackpot is for $511 million. Here's last night's winning Powerball numbers. It was 10, 14, 41, 53, 59. Powerball was 3. Power Play was 2. So there you go. Also, President Trump is calling on gas stations to lower prices right away, saying that drivers should be paying closer to $2.50 in a social media post. The president argued that the gas prices haven't dropped enough, even though crude oil has fallen to $68 a barrel. He accused retailers of charging more than they should and warned that there would be big problems if they didn't bring down prices immediately. But didn't they buy the oil at the old prices? So that's why they're charging the old prices instead of the new prices, because the new prices haven't went into effect with the stockpile that they already have. I'm just asking because I never understand how this works. Also, the bidding has been officially begun for the Seattle Seahawks, with initial offer reportedly due on Monday. The sale is expected to shatter the NFL record for the most expensive franchise sale, topping $6.05 billion paid for the Washington Commanders in 2023. According to reports, one bidding group is led by steel industry CEO Aditya Mittal and former Boston Celtics owner Wyc Crosby. Another bid reportedly coming in from billionaire Vinod Kloskov, and who has already owns a minority stake in the San Francisco 49ers. The competition would lead the biggest NFL sale in history. So there you go. Anyways, that's going to end our time together at the top of the hour. I will be going over to radiobig.fm, hanging out for the next couple hours or so, talking about the world of music and entertainment if you want to come and hang out over there. If you don't want to go over there and you want to stay here on Safety FM, you can hang out with the likes of Sheldon Primus as he talks about the world of safety consulting. If I can leave you with some words of wisdom for today, here's this. Those that have grateful mindsets tend to see message in the mess. And even though life can knock them down, the grateful find reasons, even with small ones, to get back up. So there you go. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am. Love ya, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and/or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios, as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and/or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and/or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.
As fast as you can, you can't